landslide is called as the downward movement of the earth or the rock on slopes. So when the land slides, it mostly takes place in the mountains. The land moves downwards, and it includes it. Therefore, when a large amount of land moves, the structure of the rock, material, involved, degree of the slope, they are the factors which control the intensity of the landslide. The extent of natural or artificial undercutting at the base of the slope are the main reasons. So landslide is caused when the humans affect, when they are destroying the rocks in the mountains. So the land becomes hollow and therefore it slides. So this is a natural disaster, but landslide, one of the cause may be the influence of the human. Now human disasters are epidemic. What is an epidemic? It is an occurrence of a disease which is temporarily of high prevalence. It is general name given to the widespread occurrence of the disease by contact with an infected person. So an epidemic occurring over a wide area is called a pandemic. So why is the COVID or corona called a pandemic? Because it started from a place and spread across a very big area. Almost the whole earth was affected, the whole world was affected. The rise of the pandemic prevalence of an infectious disease is the phenomena which depends upon the infected individual to a susceptible one. After an epidemic has subsided, it affects most population and contains sufficiently small proportion of the susceptible individuals. Some of the typical effects of an epidemic are fever and vomiting. Diseases like typhoid, cholera are very common, but the most recent is the COVID, which started from one area of the world and it spread across the world. So some of the pandemics are mentioned here, which we have not seen, but the corona is the most recent pandemic which we have seen. It affected the whole world. Another man-made disaster is an accident. The accident could be not a small accident. There is no proper indication of these accidents. These take place suddenly. That is why they are called accidents. Sometimes it is not even detectable. There are some of the typical effects of these accidents. Leakage of a chemical in a factory, like the Bhopal gas tragedy, where the gas was leaked and this affected a huge population and many people were affected many years ago. But the effect of the leakage of the gas are seen in the people and their children also. The toxic chemicals deteriorate the building and marble floors. Organs of the humans are affected. Even death can occur. So this is another example of a man-made disaster. Then another is a traffic accident. The accidents related to the traffic take place on the road. Nowadays, road and train accidents are very frequent. Millions of people are killed because of the accidents. These are man-made disasters. The accidents in the members of the family are the children who are affected. Women, old people are affected by it. Then next man-made disaster is a nuclear hazard, which is the word nuclear says that it is caused due to the leakage of a nuclear or a radioactive substance. One example is the Hiroshima World War. The area was affected because of the nuclear radiation. This killed many people and destroyed almost the whole place. It is one of the worst disasters in the history. It caused damage and radioactive waste spread everywhere and people were affected. So this is also example of the human caused disasters. Next disaster is a war. This is a self-inflicted disaster. We have ourselves made our existence difficult. Biological and chemical war is more dangerous. So the wars are of different type. but a biological war is more dangerous. Some of the biological weapons used by humans like pesticides, chemicals, etc. are always opening ways for disease causing materials. The effect of all the disasters are never for the benefit of life of the planet, rather its effect is always harmful. So what are the effects of any disaster, whether it is man-made or it is natural? The first harmful effect is the environment effect. There are 4 ways in which the disasters can be harmful. It can damage the homes and buildings, it can pollute the natural resources, contaminate the water, destroy the crop and waste produced from the dead body of animals. So whenever there will be a disaster, the animals and the human beings will die, they will decompose and they will spread, and they can spread poisonous substances, and then it will such disaster will affect the water. If any chemical is released, it will make the water poisonous. It will affect the health. The natural disasters which occur suddenly cause a huge amount of loss to the mankind. It spreads death and famine, epidemics and disaster. So there is a relation between the type of disaster and its effect on the health. What are they? These are dependent upon the type of the disaster. The earthquakes which require medical care, while others like flood which cause less injuries. So if there is an earthquake, most of the people will be on the earth, but they may die because of the earthquake. So it needs attention of the humans, that these things, for this man has to be prepared. What are the another effect of the disaster is the economic, social and political. Disasters destroy the economy of the area. During emergency, people must devote more time in helping the affected ones that are on the jobs. It brings damage to critical facilities and lifelines which are important not only for maintaining environment but also to maintain public order. These services are of communication, transport, electricity, water, storage. All these things are affected because of a disaster. So then these things which are important for the humans, they have to be restarted whenever there is a disaster. The major effect of a disaster is seen on the transport of the material in the affected area, because if there is a disaster, then the roads will be damaged and the transport material cannot be transferred from the place. So this is one of the major effects of the disaster. Residential areas are destroyed, which forces many people to go through psychological traumatic conditions. People are sometimes forced to leave their house. This is one of the psychological effect of the disasters. These people pose hazards for the country as they turn to be refugees and often are not able to adjust in the new places. So whenever there is any disaster, it causes the people who are affected, they are directly affected, but people who are not directly affected, they are also affected because they are separated or cut off from the other population. Coming to fill in the blanks, the point where an earthquake originates inside the earth is called the focus, and the point which you should know, which is directly above the focus, is called the epicenter. So here fill in the blanks will be the focus. Sometimes due to very heavy rain during a thunderstorm, during a storm, during a season, which type of season there is large amount of water, the level of water rises. So you will write during the spring season. We don't have summer, we don't have rainy, we say it is a spring season, so write it spring only. The water crosses the boundary in a river which causes flood. So the first fill in the blank, there are 3 blanks in this. The second fill in the blank will be boundary and next will be flood. In a cyclone, the winds which move fast, they rotate about the center of low atmospheric pressure. and they move in the anti-clockwise or counterclockwise direction. Next, most of the tsunamis originate from the so-called ring of fire. Ring of fire is a place on the earth where there are more volcanoes. An epidemic occurring over a wide geographical area is called a pandemic. Just like I gave example of the corona pandemic. Then true and false. The true and false: man-made disasters are hazards which occur due to some natural cause. So this is false. Man-made disasters are caused due to the effect of the man's interference. The point on the Earth's surface lying just above the focus is called the hypocenter. It is the hypocenter. So what is it called, hypocenter, or is it called the epicenter? So it is epicenter, so this statement is false. In a cyclone, winds move with a velocity of 100 kilometers per hour and more than this. So this is not exactly 100, it is more, so therefore this statement is also false. The area in which these volcanoes are spread. In a cyclone, wind moves with the velocity of this. Now this movement of the wind is in the volcano. The wind moves with a velocity of 100 kilometers, and the area in which these volcanoes are spread on the earth, they are called it is called the ring of fire and this causes the tsunamis in the sea. So this is true. And the chemical war. What is a chemical war? Biological and chemical war is more dangerous than the nuclear war, because if there is a biological war, why is it called biological? It is just like a country wants to destroy another country, they will not use bombs and missiles, they will just send disease into the country in different ways. When this disease enters another country, then the country will be destroyed. So that is why this is called the biological war, which is banned by the UN protocol. The area in which this the biological and chemical war is more dangerous. That is why it is dangerous, because it causes effect to a bigger number of people. So this is the last portion of this chapter. In this